The U.S. is about to get on board with a critical form of credit card payment, and retailers need to be prepared. Retailers are getting ready to make the switch from primarily accepting traditional magnetic strip cards to EMV. EMV, EuroPay, MasterCard, and Visa, is a credit card with a small chip that more securely validates transactions than magnetic strip cards. Much of the world uses EMV, and Europe has used EMV for years. The U.S. has been slow to implement the new payment standard and still mostly uses the simple magnetic strips. But soon, that will all change. The deadline for migrating to EMV is October 1st, 2015. American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa are all planning to make the switch. So far, 120 million Americans have chip EMV cards, and that number is expected to rise dramatically by the end of 2015. 63% of consumers want a chip card as soon as possible, according to a recent article from ZDNet. What's expected of merchants? Merchants are expected to have updated their POS terminals and back-end software to begin accepting EMV by then. This doesn't mean the magnetic strip cards will stop working. It's actually a deadline for a liability shift. After October 1st, 2015, the liability for fraudulent activity will be on the merchant's shoulders, not the card issuers. What's wrong with magnetic strips? The problem with magnetic strips is that they can be captured and copied relatively easily by thieves, and more easily than EMV, which is protected through cryptography and other security features. EMV also requires pins to raise security, rather than just a signature as magnetic cards can. Getting on board with EMV. The U.S. is the last large major economy to migrate to EMV. But does this mean the U.S. is behind in using a critical payment standard? Yes and no. It depends on who you ask. Some have said the main reason the U.S. has been slow to get on board with EMV is that card issuers and retailers have been dragging their feet because of cost. A magnetic strip card costs about 25 cents, while an EMV card can cost $1.25 to $2.50, according to a recent article from ZDNet. The flip side is that the U.S. simply doesn't have as much of a need for chip cards because the telecommunications infrastructure is much better in the U.S. than in Europe, for example. What EMV means for e-commerce. The main benefit for EMV is that it reduces counterfeit cards during card-present transactions. For e-commerce retailers, EMV unfortunately won't help with card security because the chip in EMV is only useful in card-present transactions. E-commerce sites will still take payments with the 16-digit number, expiration date, and CVC code. More fraud with EMV? EMV may actually cause more fraud online. That's what happened in Europe when the continent made the shift. Hackers will go where the money is easy, and if it's not easy in person, then they'll focus their efforts online. Online fraud jumped 21% in Europe in 2012, which has been associated with the implementation of PIN and chip cards, according to whitepages.com. EMV for online. But although not yet mainstream, there are EMV payment options. According to bluepay.com, EMV payment options do exist in the online world. They haven't become truly mainstream yet, but the technology is already here. MasterCard offers a chip authenticated program, CAP. Visa now offers dynamic passcode authentication, DPA. Good news for small businesses. The good news for small businesses is that switching to EMV will probably be less costly than for huge retail outlets, since smaller businesses simply have less equipment to upgrade. Hope that helps. Come back soon for more amazing hints and tips.